Welcome to Trades Talk. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic. Great to see you all here. Yes, Tuesday, the day we look into the skilled trades, what to expect, picture, and I'll show you showing some pictures and videos and stuff of how to get into the skilled trades, what you can expect to experience when you're out there. I just like to say hello to Angry Canadian. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And anyone else who happens to be lurking out there, whether you're on Kick or Rumble or Twitch or just on regular old YouTube, I welcome you and I'm glad to have you along. So after that rocky intro, let's head off to what I usually do, and that is checking out news in industry, courtesy of Plant Magazine. This usually allows you to have a little bit of insight into what's going on in the economy. If your businesses are being built or if plants are being shut down, you can sort of see what's going on here, whether the economy is doing well or not. And the first thing I saw was site for Canada's underground nuclear waste repository to be selected next year. So where are they going to put all the nuclear waste? Is it going to be somewhere in Ontario? I doubt it. Are they going to truck it up to the northern part of the provinces? Maybe. Let's see what it says, though. The sites are down to the Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation Ignace area in northwestern Ontario, and the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation South Bruce area in southern Ontario. Wow, they're going to be putting them on like native reserves? Let's see what it says here. A critical milestone is on the horizon for Canada's 175-year-long plan to bury its nuclear waste underground, with 2 pairs of Ontario communities set to decide if they would be willing hosts. Late next year, the Nuclear Waste Management Organization plans to select the site for Canada's Deep Geological Repository, where millions of bundles of used nuclear fuel would be placed in a network of rooms connected by cavernous tunnels as deep below the Earth's surface as the CN Tower is tall. That's 1,800 feet, by the way, for those that don't know. Could they be even more vague in their description? Like, just say how deep it is. The sites are down to the Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation Ignace area in northwestern Ontario and the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation South Bruce area in southern Ontario. The municipalities and First Nations are planning votes for next year, the accumulation of years-long information gathering process that some say has left deep divisions within their communities. Hey DJ Ronnie G, how you doing? Oh yay, nuclear, yeah. It's pronounced nuclear. Nuclear. The process to move ahead with Deep Geological Repository is already more than 20 years along. The NWMO has established under legislation in 2002 and is funded by the corporations that generate nuclear power and waste, such as Ontario Power Generation and Hydro-Quebec. While officials say they are confident at least one area will say yes, 2 rejections would be a major setback for the $26 billion project. Ultimately, if both areas say no, then we have to start over, and by we, I mean Canada, said Lise Morton, the vice president of site selection. Hey, Gap After Dark, how you doing? Nice to see you. You're good, but the bus is stuck in slow-moving traffic. Oh, no. Oh, well, hopefully you get home in time there, DJ. We as a country would then be really pushing the resolution of this issue to the next generation. Both the municipality and First Nations in the area of either proposed site must confirm willingness to host the repository before the NWMO will proceed. Hello, Candy Corn. How you doing? In South Bruce, they are planning to hold a referendum late next year. The mayor sees great potential for direct and indirect job creation if the repository is located there. In this location, we've kind of been left out of the major boom that Ontario's been seeing so far, Mark Getz said. We've seen it to the west of us, to the Great Lakes, and we've seen it sprawling from Toronto to the east of us, but we haven't really benefited here a whole lot yet. South Bruce already has deep nuclear roots, with the Bruce power plant close by. A refurbishment project that is set to wind down around when the repository project would start up, providing opportunity for tradespeople, Getz said. Hey, Godzillionaire, how you doing? Bureaucracy will be the death of humanity. Those bureaucrats, it just makes you want to go postal. Just with all the red tape that they come up with, and they have their own little power structures and everything that they like to command. It gets frustrating. The article goes on, but there are a good number of people in the community who are not convinced. About 20% are with Protect Our Waterways, the main opposition group, Getz estimates, and it has caused quite a friction. South Bruce is also in the shadow of Walkerton, Ontario, where 7 people died and thousands fell ill after drinking contaminated water in 2000. Fears about drinking water have lingered there long after the tragedy, said Bill Knoll, Vice Chair of Protect Our Waterways. There is a big concern relative to water, Knoll said. Once you pollute the water, there's not much you can do about it. Water also weighs heavily on the minds of members of the Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation, who have seen members of another Northwestern Ontario First Nation on the English Wobegon River system grapple with generations of mercury poisoning after a mill in Dryden dumped 9,000 kilograms of the substance in the 1960s. That's about 18,000 pounds. That's the evidence right now of how an industry went astray or how government oversight wasn't there, said Wobegon Lake Ojibwe Nation Chief Clayton Wetelaine. Within the planned repository, the radioactive materials would be under multiple layers of protection, and for contamination to happen, everything has to fail, said NWMO Senior Transportation Engineer Ulf Stammer. It's a scenario he does not see happening. The outermost layer of protection is the rock itself, with the repository about 500 meters down in a rock formation selected for its low permeability. Then come blocks of bentonite clay that encase layers further within. The clay forms a good seal and naturally attracts radioactive materials, so if any were to migrate through the other layers underneath, they would find it hard to make it past the clay. Bentonite clay also swells, creating a pressure that inhibits microbial corrosion. Packed within the bentonite clay will be containers made of carbon steel and coated with copper to prevent corrosion. Those containers will have been subjected to crush tests with the weight of 500 to 700 meters of rock plus 2 kilometers of ice designed to mimic a future ice age. The container can then survive the repository for a long, long time, essentially forever. Why is the solution to every problem more government interference? Oh, they know better, don't they? They know how to spend your money. That's all they know how to do. Government, which government most governs best? Some statists, probably. Yeah. You got her, DJ. Within the used nuclear fuel containers will be the fuel bundles or rods made of corrosion-resistant zircaloy. I've never heard of zircaloy before. Those bundles contain the actual fuel pellets, which look a bit like a thick watch battery. They are made from uranium dioxide powder and baked into ceramic, which doesn't dissolve easily in water. But all the tests and planning and modeling are not easing the fears of the project critics early either with the Southern Ontario-based project Our Waterways or We the Nuclear Free North. The whole thing is a grand experiment, said Brennan Lloyd with the Northern Group. There's not a deep geological repository operating anywhere in the world, the NWMO likes to say. Well, this is the best international practice, but practice implies that it's been done before, and there's no practice. Nobody has done this before. There are others in the works internationally, with Finland's being one of the furthest along. The NWMO recently sent officials and community members from both possible Ontario sites on a trip to Finland to see that repository for themselves. Jody Defio, an Ignatz counselor, was on the trip and was awed at the scale of the project. It was physically daunting, she said. You could fit a car driving through the tunnels. It was very amazing to see. Defio says she is conveying to her community that she learned and saw on the trip in order to help inform residents' opinions, which will ultimately shape her vote when the issue comes to Ignatz Council next year. I can definitely talk to the footprint that they've carved out of the land, which was only exactly what they needed, she said. I can speak to the fact that there was economic stability in their community and surrounding communities, and I can speak to the fact we wouldn't be the first that it would have been done before us. Nuclear waste comes from the ground, so it belongs back in there. Just put it below the aquifer. Yeah, you don't want it getting into any kind of waterways. You got a point there, DJ. Zircaloy is an alloy that acts as a moderator. Okay. The NWMO is currently working on hosting agreements with the affected communities so people can see the terms before making their decisions. Those agreements will include a mechanism to change the scope of the project. Morton said as governments such as Ontario's forge ahead with plans for a new large-scale nuclear plant as well as small modular reactors. The current fleet of reactors in Canada will produce about 5.5 million used fuel bundles, with around 3.2 million already in either wet or dry storage on site at nuclear plants. After the spent fuel rods come out of a reactor, they spend about 10 years cooling in pools of water before being stored in containers with thick concrete walls lined on the outside with a steel plate. Just a steel plate? I thought you'd use lead. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Those containers are designed to last 50 years, so they are not seen as a long-term solution. The length of time that you have to manage this fuel goes over millennia, she said. You just don't want to be burdening future generations with having to monitor the fuel and keep moving it into new packaging every century or whatever that would be for many, many centuries to come. I mean, as time progresses, I'm sure we will come up with more different kinds of materials that can work better and handle this stuff in the future. I mean, obviously not with the technology we have now, but in the future, I'm sure we would come up with some materials that would be better than what we have now, but they're not thinking that yet. Community members have been very enraged over the years of information sessions, reports, and studies asking smart questions, Morton said. The affected municipalities have community liaison committees consisting of both officials and regular citizens. Douglas Colbert joined the South Bruce Committee 13 years ago as a community member and said he has seen a slow shift towards supporting the repository. There's people asking more detailed questions, he said. Some are looking at just the safety aspect. So right now, the waste is stored right adjacent to Lake Huron at the Bruce Power Station. So if you put it in a DGR, it gets it away from the lake. Others are looking at future job opportunities for children. Others are looking at the economic spin-off. Once the site is selected in late 2024, it's really just the beginning. The NWMO is estimating regulatory approvals will take about 10 years, and construction will take about 10 years. The used fuel will be loaded in over a period of about 50 to 60 years, then it will enter an extended monitoring phase, which will last about 70 years. It will be up to future generations to decide, do we think we have all the data we need, and do we need to keep monitoring, she said, or can we close the facility up and seal the shaft? Well, I don't know if you'll ever have to do that. Hey, Alex Moore, how you doing? You like SMRs? Will this be one thing that Canada might actually get right? I don't know. I really don't. I really can't say for sure. That's where they're going to slide. I'm surprised it's in Ontario, but then again, that's where the majority of the nuclear power plants are. They're in Ontario. What else we got here for stories? Questions surround Canada's donation of air defense system for Ukraine 1 year on. I don't care about that. Surprised it worked if we gave it to them. Quebec's Common Front public sector unions will vote on a new contract. That's out in Quebec. Flotel ship arrives in BC to house liquid natural gas workers, but local permit still needed. What's this? So it's a floating hotel? Come on, get there. There we go. The Union of BC Municipalities adopted a resolution put forward by the Squamish Council last fall requesting that the provincial government require detailed workforce housing plans when considering the approval of such developments. A cruise ship renovated to house more than 600 workers at a natural gas construction project north of Vancouver arrived in British Columbia waters this week after a 40-day journey from Estonia, where it had accommodated Ukrainian refugees. Bridgman Services Group, the company contracted to provide the so-called flotel or floating hotel for workers at the wood fiber LNG project near Squamish, BC, shared a photo of the MV Isabel in Vancouver's Burrard Inlet on Wednesday. However, the mayor of Squamish said the district council has yet to consider the application for a temporary use permit to allow the plan to proceed. Armand Herford said staff are reviewing the application from Woodfibre LNG with a public process and council decision to follow. In an interview on Friday, the mayor said he isn't sure when the application will be sent to council, but it hadn't appeared on the schedule for the rest of this month. Woodfibre LNG said it was planning for workers to start occupying the ship this spring. Herford would not say whether he would support the plan when it comes time to vote, although he said the floating accommodation is a creative solution as Squamish grapples with a rental vacancy rate of just 0.7%. We knew that was the path they were going to pursue, but the last piece of that is the permitting required to do that, and you know, often the devil's in the details. I don't get what their problem is. Let the thing dock. What's going on here? Obviously, somebody wants some money or something. So that's my guess right off the bat, without even finishing reading this thing. Some clown on Squamish Council or the mayor wants some money, wants his palm greased, so that they can okay having this ship anchored at a dock or something so it can house the workers. Like, what's his problem here? Herford said figuring out accommodation for temporary workers should be an integral part of the approval process for major infrastructure projects, which is done. They got that ship. Otherwise, he said municipalities are left grappling with the housing and social impacts at a really awkward time in the cycle of a project. The Union of BC Municipalities adopted a resolution put forward by Squamish Council last fall, requesting that the provincial government require detailed workforce housing plans when considering the approval of such developments. Christine Kennedy, president of Woodfibre LNG, said it has always been a priority to ensure the facility's construction has a little impact on Squamish as possible. All those workers there are going to bring money to your community there, buddy. You know, even if it's just going for lunch and going to one of the restaurants in town, and they're going to have to buy stuff. They're going to be going to stores to buy tools, boots, stuff they need as the construction goes on. Like it's a boon for the community. I don't get what they're going on about here. The statement said floating accommodation alleviates concerns about the impact of temporary workers on local housing and community services, as well as potential for environmental harm associated with standard work camps. Herford said he doesn't know why temporary use application for the flotel was made so late in the process, but he speculated it may have stemmed from the company's desire to maximize use of an initial 3-year permit. See it often with a proponent where they want to have the use of that for as long as possible. The timeline for potential approval depends in part on the quality of the application, the mayor said. Obviously, they're confident in their application and in the solution, and they've invested enough to get to this point. A statement from Bridgman said the luxury accommodation vessel was set to receive final touches at a North Vancouver shipyard, including games, tables, and equipment for a fitness facility before making its way up Howe Sound to the site of the former pulp and paper mill 7 kilometers southwest of Squamish. The ship recently housed people fleeing war in Ukraine, and a statement from Woodfibre LNG said it has since undergone an extensive refit to its environmental systems and its living, dining, and recreation areas. The ship has sewage and water treatment systems, industrial-sized heat pumps, and it may be connected to the BC hydroelectricity grid. Its treated sewage is to be shipped to waste management facilities in the province. The MV Isabel is set to be moored at the Woodfibre project site, so those living on board can walk to work. Yeah, that's what I thought it would be. The flotel includes catered dining areas, laundry rooms, first aid clinic, and games room, in addition to state-of-the-art fitness facility. Bridgman said the crew on board at all times to inspect the ship to ensure fire, water, and other safety systems meet Canadian regulations. There you go. I don't see a problem with it. I just think somebody wants their kickback. Don't forget to hey, listen to DJ Ronnie G. He says, don't forget to tap that like button. I appreciate it. The gas tax paused in Manitoba, returns in Alberta at a lower rate. That's good. I don't mind them if they want to have a lower rate for our gas tax here. You feel like a smaller floating gentleman's club to follow the Flotilla around would be $1 million investment? Hey! Yeah, you want to go in on a little, want to go in on a boat that follows the bigger boat? That is a damn good idea. Saskatchewan to stop collecting carbon levy from natural gas and electrical heat. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. You know, when we have our election here, and if any candidate says that they're going to get rid of the carbon tax, they got my vote. Like, what? You want to get rid of that? You got my vote. Hey, Nico, you just got off work, but you're here? I appreciate that. Okay, the Saskatchewan government says its natural gas utility is to stop collecting the carbon levy as of Monday from residential customers. The move comes after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau exempted those who use home heating oil from paying the levy, mostly benefiting residents in Atlantic Canada. So that's how he's buying their vote. It's like, oh, you use heating oil? Well, we won't charge you a carbon tax for that. And so everybody's face in Eastern or Atlantic Canada turned into a giant happy face, and they're like, oh, we're going to vote for you then. I hope they don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't be suckered by this guy. He's the scum of the earth. Saskatchewan asked for the exemption to cover all other forms of heating, but Ottawa denied the request. In response, the province said it would stop collecting the charge at the start of 2024. So there you go. Good for them. Stand up to the federal government. You know, tell them up yours. You're not gonna give us an exemption, and forget it. Dustin Duncan, the minister responsible for Sask Energy, said the due date to pay the levy to the federal government is the last day of February, which is a leap year this year, by the way. Should Sask Energy not remit those dollars, it would be breaking federal law, and executives could face fines or jail time. Saskatchewan passed legislation that aims to shield executives from legal consequences, putting that burden on the province. Duncan said in December that Sask Energy asked the federal government to remove it as a registered distributor of natural gas. He said the company wants Ottawa to instead list the province as the distributor. The sooner we get clarity from the federal government whether or not they will essentially acknowledge what the bill says and accept that change in registration, I think that will dictate the next steps for us to make a decision in January to not remit, Duncan said. The Canadian Press asked the Canada Revenue Agency if it has delisted Sask Energy. Canada Revenue Agency, that's our version of the IRS. The agency said in a statement, the Greenhouse Pollution Pricing Act prevents it from discussing details of specific cases. Yeah, good for you. Sask Energy has declined to the interviews over the issue and directed media requests to the provincial government. Trudeau has said he expects all provinces to follow the law and that heating oil is far more expensive than natural gas. Ottawa has also said the carbon pricing system offers rebates, putting more money back into the pockets of most Canadians, and proceeds are returned to the provinces where the charges are collected. This is what I have a problem with. You take money away from the people and then give a little bit back to them and say, oh, you're getting more money back than we're taking away. Lying. You're liars. You stupid government, don't lie to me. Stop charging people for the air they breathe, because that's essentially what the carbon tax is. And I get so angry about this stupid thing. Carbon is in everything. People are made of carbon. Stop charging us for that. It's a fictitious thing. It's imaginary. It's not helping anything. These guys take our money and then give a little bit back to us and tell us we should be grateful for it. And there's the people that are low IQ, stupid. Oh, look, I got money from the government. That's your money to begin with. And they're taking way more than they're giving back to you. So don't be suckered by these guys. Saskatchewan said the average resident can expect to save $400 next year by not paying the levy. Also starting this month, Saskatchewan is no longer collecting the carbon levy for those who use electricity to heat their homes. However, the province doesn't anticipate legal ramifications for that move because it controls the carbon levy that applies to its electrical utility, Sask Power. Okay. You just find the notion of renewables being visible to be highly disingenuous? Yep, I agree with that too. You are the carbon they want to reduce. Yeah, I've seen that meme too, Godzillionaire. And it's very true. Kitty Bear, over on Rumble. Tomorrow, the so-called internet provider specialist doesn't fix your internet problem. You'll make the news as the sword-wielding madman. Okay, well, maybe we'll see you on the news then, Kitty Bear. I hope not, though. Oh, renewals being visible, not visible, viable. Yes, okay, DJ. I gotcha. He said the move will cost Sask Power more than $3 million this year. Why we've decided to direct Sask Power to essentially keep those carbon tax payments whole is that we don't want to jeopardize the federal government coming in and saying, you're not compliant with our agreement and therefore take the entirety of those dollars back. The Saskatchewan Party government said it plans to use money from the fund for emissions-free electricity projects, including a potential small modular nuclear reactor. Carbon levies from other heavy emitters are to be deposited into a separate technology fund for projects that reduce, sequester, and capture emissions. Saskatchewan took Ottawa to court over the carbon levy in 2021, but lost its challenge when the Supreme Court ruled it was constitutional. Yeah, thanks, Supreme Court. I'm sure you're totally not in the pocket of the government. So that's that one. That you want to see angry pops? Then angry pop is when you start talking about carbon levy and the government forcing stuff onto you. That's when you get angry pop. I don't like to be angry, but it just pushes my buttons. Storage Mart's growth in Ontario continues with facility launch in Woodbridge. I don't care about that. That's it for this this edition of news out in industry. The government has determined the government has done nothing wrong. They're investigating themselves. The government hired investigators, have investigated the government and found that the government has not done anything that was, of impropriety or anything like that. Coffee's ready. Car warmed up. All right. Cheers, Alex Moore. Cheers to the working man. Okay. Speaking of which, I had to warm up the car this morning too. It's snowing here now. It's been snowing since about 11 a.m. And it's your typical dry snow, so it's easy to move. I think I used a broom to clean off the steps. But it's coming down, and it was minus 15 Celsius on the way home. I don't know what that is. Maybe, 4 or 5 Fahrenheit? Something like that. Anyways, we are getting a cold snap here, and it's coming, and it's going to be horrendous. I'm not going to like working outside, that's for sure. So, next, moving along. I saw this article here. Combating the skilled labor shortage in construction strategies for success. Let's see whether they have, if they say or mention anything that I've talked about that would help cure the shortage of skilled trades here. Construction industry is booming, but the workforce isn't keeping pace. According to the AGC survey, contractors across the country are struggling to fill positions with qualified workers. This shortage isn't a minor inconvenience, it's a significant barrier to growth and productivity in the sector. Oh yeah, Godzilla, I watched that. I watched the Home Depot commercial you put in the Discord about the skilled labor shortage. You betcha. That's good stuff, and I don't know if that's just an American thing. I haven't seen any Canadian Home Depot commercials like that, but that's awesome that they would do that. I didn't mind that at all. I don't know if I could bring it up on here or whether I would get dinged for it either. You guys know I'm kind of gun shy after getting a couple of warnings about and having a couple of streams copyright claimed. I'm gun shy now about showing stuff like that. Along with the shortage isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a significant barrier to growth and productivity in the sector. Their bullet points are difficulty in finding skilled tradespeople. Increased project timelines due to understaffing. Yes. Rising costs as a result of overtime and higher wages to attract talent. Yes. What's causing the shortage? Several factors. Aging workforce with a wave of retirements. Yes. The boomers are retiring. That's how I got my job. A lack of interest among younger generations in pursuing construction careers. Yes. It needs to be made more. It needs to be made to look good when they are like in elementary school and high school, junior high, whatever. You have to make it look like a good thing to do. Insufficient training and apprenticeship programs. Well, maybe in some places, but where I'm at, there is good apprenticeship programs and good training. I like to think we have one of the best schools in Canada here for training people in the trades. Immigration policies that limit the pool of available workers. Yeah, I don't care about that. You need to have the people here get the jobs. Don't bring in foreign workers when you don't have to. The only reason they want to bring in foreign workers is to pay them less and treat them like garbage. Strategies to overcome staffing challenges. While the situation may seem daunting, there are strategies that can help mitigate the impact of the skilled labor shortage on your business. Here's what we at MGR Workforce recommend. Invest in training and development. Building a skilled workforce starts with investing in training and development. Consider partnering with a local trade school or creating an apprenticeship program within your company. This not only helps you cultivate the talent you need, but also positions your company as an attractive option for those looking to enter the industry. So companies that partner up with trade schools and such, they get students right out of school. They find that the ones that are and interview the students, and they pull them right out after they're done school. So good on them. That's a good idea. Also, companies that have their apprenticeship program, good on them for looking ahead. If you don't have anything like that, you're going to have a hard time. You want to keep people working at your plant or your facility for a long time. If you can do that by promotion from within rather than hiring people from out is the best thing to do, because then you'll have happier workers, people that work there and they learn the process, they learn the plant, and then all of a sudden they get an apprenticeship and they stick around. Like this is what you want to do to cultivate a good environment for them to work in. I know a lot of people will feel if they get somebody gets brought in when they wanted to advance their career or move higher up the ladder, there's bad feelings then. And then you get people that are not as invested in working at the company. So let that be a lesson to managers out there. Hello, Jay's daddy. How you doing? Good to see you. We're just going along through this article here, seeing whether they figure out how to have more skilled tradespeople out there. The next one is embrace technology and innovation. Technology can be a game changer in attracting a new generation of workers. By incorporating cutting-edge tools and practices, you can make the work more appealing to tech-savvy individuals who might not have considered construction as a career path. So you don't need really, really high-tech stuff. I mean, I use a PC on a daily basis. A lot of it is for emailing, either my managers, or lots of times it's vendors, asking questions, ordering things, finding out things. It's one of the tools of the trade now. Your PC is very important to help you do your job efficiently. You know, I make spreadsheets and such to keep track of parts, and there's maintenance software as well, and just other things in general, just to keep a smooth running maintenance department. And then there's other stuff too, like when you're doing coupling alignment, you can use numerical controlled or numeric laser alignment when you're aligning shafts and such. You know, that's your high technology stuff with lasers. The next one is expand your recruitment efforts. It's time to think outside the box when it comes to recruitment. Broaden your search to include untapped demographics such as military veterans or women who may not have traditionally been represented in the construction workforce. Sure. Military veterans, yeah. They'll have other problems though, so you just gotta be wary. And women, as soon as they are lining up to get in there, yeah. You won't see a lot of them though. A lot of them don't want to do the hard, dirty work that was required to be in construction. I'm not saying all of them. Some will, some won't. So you can try that avenue for pulling in people, but it's not going to go well. Over on Rumble, carbon tax is BS. A single volcano blast in 6 days. In 6 days, more carbon in the air than all human combined in a year. Right now, there are about 45 volcanoes spewing carbon in the air. That I didn't know, Kitty Bear, but that is a good point. I know that volcanoes do throw up a lot of debris in the air. So, yeah, who's the real problem here? Is it humans who are like a speck on the earth? Or is it these volcanoes that you can't stop no matter what you do? But they won't listen to that. They're going to force this down our throat and tell us that we're the problem and we have to stop everything and eat bugs and live in tiny, tiny homes, like 10-foot by 10-foot homes, and be happy about it because you're saving the earth when really you're not saving the earth. The next one, offer competitive compensation and benefits to attract and retain the best talent. Ensure your compensation packages are competitive. This includes not only wages, but also benefits like health insurance, retirement plans, and opportunities for career advancement. That's what workers look for. I mean, when you're out there on the job and you're like, you know what, hey, I've done this type of job for a while. I'd like to move up the ladder. I want to go to the next thing, get up the next rung. If you don't see that where you're at, then, you're going to look elsewhere. And as far as, benefits and compensation, you have to look at the industry as a whole. So if you work at a place that makes, trusses or whatever, other places that build trusses, you have to look at their compensation and benefits and see, are you below them? Are you above them? It's all relative, depending on the area that you work in. Are you at an engineering firm? What do other engineering firms pay? What do they do for civil engineering? If you're a civil engineer, are you getting paid what they get paid? Are you a welder? Are you getting paid what a welder gets paid in another place? It's all relative. You gotta make sure that you do your homework and make sure your company has to as well. This is for managers and such, and CEOs. They have to match what their competition is doing, or they're going to get left behind, and the good workers are going to go. Utilize temporary staffing solutions. Temporary staffing agencies like MGR Workforce can be a lifeline when you need skilled labor quickly. For flexible staffing solutions. Yes, of course, they got to plug themselves in there, don't they? Some places you can hire temporary workers, temporary skilled tradesmen, and what companies will do is they'll just try them out. They'll be like, okay, we're going to hire you on as a temp. We're going to see what you can do, see how well you work with everybody, and see what your skills are. And then after a month or whatever, they'll call the guys around that worked with them and be like, what do you think of this guy? Do you think he's good or not? Do you think he's worth keeping around? And by their input, they will decide whether or not to just be like, no, we'll move this guy along, or yeah, we'll keep this guy permanently. We'll we'll not keep him on as a temp anymore. We'll take him on as a permanent employee. I've seen that happen. Okay, so moving along, one of the things I experienced today, I had a mechanical seal fail on a compressor. So what that means is that it just started leaking oil. And that's not acceptable. The machine was shut down and they switched on the redundant machine beside it to take over. So that was done. But it got me thinking is, how many of you guys know about pump seals and what they use? Before the invention of mechanical seal, you can see here, this has a pretty good animation. I like it. So this is a pump here. Just your basic centrifugal pump. The fluid comes in here, the inlet, where the blue is. It goes in the center of the impeller, gets thrown out the outside of it, and it goes up the outlet, which is at the top here. Right here, can I zoom in on this? Somewhat. Oh, there we go. Good old end suction pump. You got her, Godzillionaire. So right here, these square pieces here, those represent pump packing, which keeps all the material you're pumping, usually water. It can be other stuff as well, obviously oil, acid, whatever it happens to be. This packing here is supposed to keep it from leaking all over. You're supposed to have slight weepage through this style of packing. So a little bit is supposed to get through. And that's good. You don't ever want to tighten it up so there's nothing. Otherwise, the packing will run dry and you'll seize it onto the shaft. Yeah, you wouldn't want to use packing for acid. Exactly, Godzillionaire. That's where I'm just getting the starting of what packing used to look like and what it does. And they still use this type of packing. We still do anyway for our sulfur. Our molten sulfur uses this style of packing. But yes, so as you can see, once it leaks, you'll see a little bit of the material come out. Let's just say this is water, and you can see a little bit's come out, a little bit more, and finally you've got a bunch of it leaking out of there. And so you pull all that old packing out, put new stuff in, and then make sure that the leak is just a little bit of a drip, which is okay for that because it's just water. But in places where you can't have any leaks, this is what it looks like. This was rope packing or gland packing. You can see it's a square size. And what you do is you'll cut it to size so it fits around the shaft. You'll cut it at an angle at a 45 usually, and then that makes it so that when you compact it, it will squish down and it won't let the water leak by, or whatever fluid is you're pumping. And because you cut it in half, each ring of packing that goes in here will be like turned 90 degrees to the next one. You don't ever want to have the cut lines all lined up in a row, otherwise it'll just have an easy path to leak through. So you turn each one, either 180 degrees or 90 degrees as you put each ring in, and then that's how you install that kind of a packing. So mechanical seals, however, they allow no leakage. You should not have any leakage when you use a mechanical seal. These things are precision lapped. So the surfaces, and what I mean by that is lapping, you rub the surface on a lapping stone, and it is measured with a glass crystal within a few light bands. So that's how fine the surface is. So let's see if we can get a closer look. So the mechanical seal is sits on the shaft. It's set screwed to the shaft. It has a rotating face and a stationary face, and those are the two faces that are, like I say, precision ground. They are very, very. They are so precision ground. Let's say that if you touch them with your finger, you throw the thing out because it's garbage now. You have just ruined it. You have to be very careful with mechanical seals. These things, they are expensive. For a 2-inch diameter mechanical seal, you're looking at $2,000. So don't ever force it, hit it, anything like that. You have to treat these things very gently. They are highly precise. Okay, yes, here it is. It says here, the surfaces of the seal faces are superlapped to a high degree of flatness, typically 2 to 3 helium light bands, or, let's see, 0.00003 thousandths. That's a lot. That's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths? Yes. Like I said, they measured it in light bands, helium light bands, apparently. But yes, that is amazing, the amount of precision that goes into these things. And here's a drawing of that. See if we can't get a better look. Yes, as you can see, the yellow part is the rotating face. That will spin. There's the stationary face in the blue. There's a film, a thin fluid film between the two faces. And that is where you get all your sealing. As well as you have the O-rings, a bunch of O-rings, one there, one there, one there, one there. And there's the set screw that holds it to the shaft. So it says the gap between the faces on a typical seal is as little as 1 micron, 75 times narrower than human hair. Because the gap is so tiny, particles that would otherwise damage the seal faces are unable to enter, and the amount of liquid that leaks through this space is so small it appears as vapor, around half a teaspoon on a day on a typical application. So there it is right there. You can see it. They've got really good animations here. This is great. You can see there's a little bit leaking in there, but nothing gets out. So that's what it looks like. And there it is spinning on the shaft. There's the stationary face. There's the rotating face. And sometimes you'll even have like a flushing fluid to help it out. In case you're pumping some stuff that's not so nice for it, you can flush it out with clean fluid, whether it's water or whatever you're pumping. But yeah, if it gets too hot, if there's no film between them, that's what happens. So I am going to have to change out a mechanical seal on our propane compressor because we need to have it, but it might have to wait till shutdown. And it doesn't kind of look like this. It's this. I believe these are cartridge ones. Might have to see what the other one looks like. But yes, these are quite incredible things, these mechanical seals. They've taken pumping material, just it's done such a great job to reduce any kind of leakage. And as long as they're installed properly, because most problems with them are by people that installed them. So if they leak, it's probably from install. Okay, see you later, Gap. Thanks for coming out, man. Nice to see you. Anything else? Anything else? No. But yes, these things. And actually, I could show you something really neat too. So just hold off on that for a second. Let's see if I can find what I want to look for here. There's some really neat stuff out there. Let's see. Is this? Bear with me for a second here. Fine. Okay. This is what I'm going to have to put in. I have put this style of it in before. This is a mechanical seal, but it is definitely not one of my favorite ones. You've got a part down here that is the stationary part, and it's rubber, and it's supposed to sit inside the stationary part of the pump. And this one sits on the shaft and rotates, but this is quite a hokey. The old Type 1 style crane seals. Thanks, Godzillionaire. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know if I'll have to. Actually, I could find the. It's a Carlisle one. It's a Carlisle compressor. Carlisle? No, why? Sir. Parts? No parts. This one's probably. There we go. It looks like, which one here? Yeah, the H. So this is the guy, this is the compressor. Just a matter of finding the parts for it. The first iteration of mechanical seals before we got the fancy cartridge seals. Yes, exactly. The one I have to change now goes on this compressor, the Carlisle one, which are good compressors. They're not actually not bad. I don't have any complaints about it really. Compressor data, couplings. Oh, there's a drawing. Let's see what that happens. Okay. Doesn't really show the mechanical seal, but parts. There we are, parts. Filter installation, flex coupling, crankcase heater installation, capacity control. Okay. Yeah, and then there's these guys. These guys, Teikoku. These guys are crazy. I've never seen these before. It is a completely sealed pump. The motor and everything like that is all combined. You cannot work on anything on this thing. So this, you can see the inlet and outlet. Yep, Godzilla, yep. I think it's mag drive. I think it is. Everyone knows the best seal is more RTV. Get out of here with that. How you doing, Blaine? Yeah. I think this thing's an all-in-one. You can't do any. You can hook up power for the motor, and that's it. You hook up the flange connections, And this is a pump that does not leak. This thing will never leak. It's pretty incredible. We have, how many? We got 4 of these where I'm at. And they just run and run and run. They're great. Yes, they're called canned motor pumps. Here it says here, NC series canned motor pumps have been designed totally from user input and represents the best available current technology in sealless pumps utilizing Teikoku bearing monitor technology. This monitoring capability will aid you, your client, or customer in preventative maintenance by enabling the responsible operator to predict wear patterns based on actual system conditions and thereby increase mean time between pump maintenance and keep you producing. Through proper use of Teikoku monitors, pump failures should become an expense of the past. And it says it's got a leak-proof design, high-efficiency motor, minimal spare parts inventory because they have components. There's fewer components than sealed and magnetically coupled pumps. They provide a level of interchangeability that encompasses all wearing parts across the entire model range. Bearings, thrust surfaces, and shaft sleeves are the same for all pumps in the range from 5 to 50 horsepower. Pull-out design is inherently standard and enables quick and easy replacement of all wearing parts without removing the pump casing from line. So there you go. It's easy to change out the guts of the thing. You have to stop the whole system, clean it out, wash it out, open up the back, pull them out, put the new stuff in, and away you go. What happens if it isn't level? Nothing should matter with it being level, as long as you always keep the inlet flooded with fluid, and it'll always work properly. Being a little bit out of level shouldn't matter at all. You never want to run a pump dry; you'll kill the thing in a matter of seconds. It'll heat up and it'll just cook itself to death. So. Yes, Godzilla, a good point. Pipe strain can occur. You want to avoid pipe strain as much as possible. It's not a good thing to get into. You put too much stress on your flanges, everything trying to hold itself together. If it's trying to get pushed a different direction, things are going to break. Whether you break studs or whatever, you just want to avoid pipe strain as much as you can. That's why I've seen some have flexible tubing or flexible hose hookups on the inlet and outlet. That helps remove some of that strain. They're not very long. They're only about maybe, 18 inches long. But that's enough to take any kind of strain out of it. And how do we maintain a sealed system? I would think every year on shutdown, you would open up the back of this pump and remove the innards and have a replacement standing by, whether it's the impeller and the rest of the stuff, the stator. Pull that out, put in the new one with new bearings and everything like that, and away you go. Use 3 inches of flex on all your aquarium pumps, as you should. That's a pretty good sealer, I believe. Well, it's sealed right now, as you can see, but at the back end, I believe, is what it was saying here. Well, here's a manual. I believe you just disconnect it from the back. It's not meant to be open, or it's it doesn't have an open surface when it's running. Let's see what it says here. So there's the bearing indicator, and we'll just zoom in a bit here. So this thing lets you know if your bearing is wearing out, and that's when you know it's time to change. It'll tell you what the scale is. If it's green, normal, connection's correct, good. During operation, green. If it's yellow, if bearings are worn. If it's red, immediate maintenance required. There's an oil-filled stator. Okay, so it does run in, must run in some like dielectric oil or something. Should tell me how to get into it here. Back flushing. Oh, there we go. There's a removable water jacket. So yes, some stuff is, you don't want it to heat up a lot, depending on what you're pumping, so you can throw a water jacket on it. That will cool it down. Conversely, sometimes you don't want stuff to cool down too much. You can probably throw on a something to heat it up. You like your Fluval FX6 filter? That sounds fancy, DJ. It's a can motor pump. Yes. Yes, Godzilla, exactly. The operation. Maintenance. There we go. It even tells you the tools you need to disassemble, reassembly, and inspection. So this is a good manual. Anything that tells you the exact tools that you need. Tools for inspection, dial indicator, verniers, telescopic gauges, how to disassemble it. Disconnect power cables. It goes 1, 2, 4. Why did it skip 3? Move the 4 bolts, attaching the pump assembly to the stand, lift the pump off the stand. Oh, you're taking it right off the stand. Okay. Remove the impeller. Yeah, okay. Remove the screws holding the rear cover plate to the stator assembly and remove the cover plate. Pull the screws into the rear bearing housing, remove the rear bearing housing, remove the screw holding the rear bearing in the rear bearing housing, and remove the bearing. Remove the inducer by inserting a 1/4" round bar into the hole located in the body of the inducer. Use a strap wrench to keep the impeller from rotating. Threads are right-handed. Remove the impeller and impeller key. Okay, yeah, we're really pulling that apart. So yes, this is quite a neat pump that I had never seen before, being a canned motor pump. But it's pretty awesome. I think we bought one last year and it was like $9,000. And then you got your pump curves, which, tell you how much you're going to pump, at what speed you're spinning, and the size of your impeller. Rotate that, rotate that, rotate that. There we go. Yeah, so you got your gallons per minute. And usually it's your RPM, how fast you're spinning. But this is like TDH. The heck is TDH? Something. I know it's like deadhead or something like that, or. Yep, pump curves, Godzillionaire. Taking you back yet? But yeah, it'll show how efficient your pump is. When you're trying to spin it, or pump as much as you can, and how efficient it is, and what size of impeller you're using. But yeah, it gives you all sorts of information. But yes, those canned pumps, really good. Really, total developed head. Thank you. I knew you'd have it. I knew you'd know it. I mean, sometimes I can't remember everything, but I knew you would. Instead of PSIG, because PSIG is dependent on fluid specific gravity, TDH is not. Okay. So using TDH, one curve, all fluids. Nice. Well done. Appreciate that, Godzillionaire. But yeah, I thought this kind of tied into not having any spilling fluid because you have a mechanical seal, and then you have a completely canned pump. Doesn't have any seals exposed to the outside at all, like a mechanical seal would, or packing that you'd use on a pump. So I'm probably going to have to do that this year on one of our can pumps, is maybe pull it apart and see if it needs any replacement parts, or have some replacement parts here, and then see if I have to replace any. So yeah, there you go. And then go back to the Carlisle compressor and change that one so that it's not leaking anywhere. But I think we have to purge it. So I don't think I can open it up when the process is going on, because I don't think we have a way to isolate it from the rest of the process. So I might have to wait until shutdown, because I don't want to get gassed out. So we've got our other one running, so that'll should last until shutdown, which is in a couple months. But yes, mechanical seals, everyone. This is awesome stuff. In case you're ever wondering, how do they keep the stuff from leaking? It's this. And if you ever see a mechanical seal leaking, it's got to get changed. It's not supposed to leak at all. And it's good for like caustic and acidic and dangerous chemicals. So there you go. That is the topic of the day. A little bit of pump sealing. Thought you guys might enjoy that. I find it quite fascinating, the things that they managed to come up with. You know, there's people that are out there figuring out how to engineer these things, and they come up with it. It's pretty awesome. It's incredible. I mean, I wish I could come up with something like that, but maybe someday. Now we're gonna start wrapping up here. We about hit the time here. Just like to thank everybody that came by, like Angry Canadian, DJ Ronnie G, Yap After Dark, Candy Corn, of course Godzillionaire, and Alex Moore, Nico, always good to see you, Jay's Daddy. Hope you guys had a fun time. I know I always do. I enjoy this. Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner. Always like to see you pop in there. Pop into the chat, Blaine. I know you've got your own stream to do. Probably on it right now. Yeah, there you are, Angry Canadian. A little bit of hammer and wrench. Always a fun time. Have to have you back on there so we can talk more trade stuff, more aircraft maintenance and stuff like that. I think we should do that in this new year. Try to have some returning guests. We can have a fun time. So hey, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Let your friends know. Tell them all about me. You know, the more the better. We can have a fun time here, sharing, swapping stories with each other. There's other good channels out there too, people I watch personally and enjoy, like Pacific 4 and Blaine's Escape Corner, Ronan66, DJ Ronnie G, Brandon the Anime Guy. There's the Nerdporeal Lifeform, who I was watching before I started my stream today. There's Angry Canadian. There's Whoopa. He has his own stream where he plays some chill games. It's pretty fun. And there's actually a video out there of him and I playing Lethal Company, and he plays a little joke on me. I think it's on his channel. He's like, I think the title of it is like, teaching my friend to play Lethal Company. Actually, you know what? I should just bring it up here and show you guys. You'll get a good laugh out of it, I'm sure. if you haven't seen it already. What can I say? I'm a sucker for punishment. And yeah, I didn't realize that at the time, but yeah, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but here, let's, there we go. Oh, I better, so, there we go. There I am.
There's a frisbee over there.
He tells me there's a frisbee.
Pick it up.
And I get blown up.
That might not have been a frisbee pop. I'm sorry.
So it's pretty good. You know, he was teaching me Minecraft. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, there's a frisbee over there. You pick it up," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." And then all of a sudden, Jake D out of here, Jake D, that's not a frisbee, and then kaboom, I'm dead. So, thanks, Whoopa. I always appreciate you teaching me how to play games. So that's okay. I got him the next planet we went to. He was running along beside me, and I just went. Murr. And I think I scared him because there's animals that can get you on your planet, so he asked me not to do that after. Oh, and don't forget Punk Waddle. He's out there too. We watch Punk Waddle on Snowdub's channel and at Floral from Under a Rock. Coming up Saturday, the game stream, more Golden Sun. Man, this game is it just goes and goes and goes. What a fun game. And I'm trying to level up. I'm trying to get up there so I can beat, the next major boss that comes along without getting owned. So, hey, come and see me on Saturday, and we'll do some leveling up, some chatting about game stuff, and have just a good old time. I really like catching up on these games I didn't get to play when they were popular on the Game Boy Advance. So, I'm having a fun time with that. And then Sunday is Anime Chat. What's the theme this month? Mystery and detective. So come and join me as we check on some animes that aren't maybe as well known, that have to deal with detective work, some mystery to solve, all that kind of good stuff. Should be in for a good time. I like myself a good mystery, especially like a Sherlock Holmes or something like that, where you have to be really clever to try to figure things out. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And I hope you are too. So until then, everyone, and when Saturday rolls around and we're playing the game stream, I hope to see you all there. I've been Pop, and I am signing off.